Bradley University did a lot of stuff this year. You want to go to the next slide? That's a thing. Thank you. And we had a Capture and Combat fall project. We had 2 visiting scenarios. We had someone going to the Lakeview Junior High. We went to Amnesty International's Action Conference campaign. We had Things to Leave Behind, our spring campaign. All together, it was a really busy year. And we did lots of work. We have a lot to show you, so let's go ahead and get started.
All right, so as Libby mentioned, our first thing we're going to cover is Captured in Combat, and that was actually our fall semester campaign that we launched. If you want to click on that. Perfect. Yeah, so this was our fall 2014 campaign, so some of us joined the team a little later, but most of us were there for that. So we had a really unique opportunity where Bradley University has classes called IHS, and those are for freshmen. So we really wanted to use that to our advantage in our campaign. So we were able to go into these classrooms, and we actually wanted to do a research component of that as well. So we enlisted the help of our head of the psychology department at Bradley University. Her name is Dr. Etaw, and we also utilized the help of Dr. Bob Wiltz, and they were really instrumental in helping us complete this research project, which basically we proved that all of these efforts, all of these IHL campaigns that we've all done are effective. And these simulations, they are effective in helping educate the public, especially young people. So that was a really amazing opportunity we had to do that. And so the planning that went into that, we started over the summer, and so since we were all spread out, we got together over Skype, we used Google a lot. We all know how to use Google, that's an awesome tool. And our team leaders, we had Libby and then also 2 others, and they were so great. They helped us keep us on track, and we just did a lot of different planning with the Red Cross and with the psychology department, as I mentioned before. So I will hand it over to Shannon to kind of explain what we did with that campaign.
So we had, you guys all did Red Cross when you got trained, I'm sure. We took the POW simulation and kind of condensed it down, made it so that 2 people could run it since we all have busy class schedules. And what we would do is 2 of us would team up, 1 person would be like an ICRC person, and another person would be a prison guard. So we would start them outside of the classroom, and we would tell them kind of where they were, what they were about to do, and then walk them in and then immediately kind of throw them into this prisoner of war simulation. And so the prison guard would yell at them, make them do embarrassing things, that sort of thing, to really kind of put them in the shoes of prisoners of war, just like you do in Red Cross. And then we'll run through the simulation. We watched a few videos with interviews from people who are pretending to be prisoners of war. And then once we were done with that, we did like a walking debate, so like the agree-disagree thing where we would read out certain statements and they would have to decide whether they thought it was, they agree with it or they disagree with it. There was no gray area for them, so we were able to get them to kind of start thinking. It was really kind of hard at the beginning because none of them wanted to really
out to probably around 100 at Student Expo. There were over 1,000 participants at the MPA, though we had only probably like a dozen interactions.
Hi, my name is Jessica, and I'm going to talk to you about our change in audience. Something this year we wanted to do was switch up who we talk to. So, of course, being a college campus, we have a whole college campus to use. But we also got other resources that were kind of untapped in previous years. One of which are junior high school kids. And actually, this was my own junior high back in Downers Grove, Illinois. And I had a teacher who knew that I was involved with Red Cross and said, hey, like, we would really enjoy if you came to speak to our 7th graders. So it was Rachel, Sarah, and I. Sarah's not here with us today. And we went all the way to Downers Grove to present. And we were in everybody's social studies class. And so we started off because we know what we do best. And what we do best is starting with a simulation. And so putting someone in the shoes of a child soldier. We did child soldiers because it was relatable to kids, to smaller kids, who could see what it's like to, be in solidarity with someone who's their own age of war. So we started off each class, and one of us would be dressed as a soldier, and like we'd come in the room and be like, everyone, get on your toes, do 10 jumping jacks, and they all be like, I don't know what to do with my binders. Like, it was really funny, but at the same time, like they were kind of thrown off. This wasn't a normal social studies class. And so after we had their attention, we'd stop the simulation, and then we'd go through our regular PowerPoint of what it's like to be a child soldier, and what IHL is, and what it affects. And it was really interesting to hear all the responses at the end, especially from such a really young audience. Many students would say things like, oh, does this relate to the Geneva Conventions? And I don't know about you guys, but when I was in 7th grade, I had no idea what the Geneva Conventions are, or could relate any of this stuff to real-life examples such as Syria. Anything else I should add on to that?
Yeah, so it was just really cool to see their perspective of it rather than our usual audience, which was college students, the Bradley community. And so it was just amazing to see what they knew, how much knowledge they had already. And they just had fun with it, really. They enjoyed us leading them in these simulations, and I think they learned a lot from it, which was really cool to see in their reactions. And something that's really popular at the 7th grade level these days is Instagram. They were all about the Instagram, so we challenged them to share what they learned in that class that day on their Instagrams and to get their friends to like it, share it with others, and we just challenged them to do that, and they really took that and they did it.
It's really funny because if you look at that hashtag war has limits, we gave them all these stickers that we pass out at all of our events. And if you look at that hashtag, it's just a picture of a sticker and like a paragraph explanation about what they learned in class. Which obviously was like for homework, but like it's so cute and funny and like still shows that when they go look at their Instagram feed, like that's gonna be there. So we felt pretty proud of ourselves.
So Jessica's teacher, Mr. Little, was just so helpful with that. He really was one of our biggest advocates with helping us come into his classrooms, giving his students the homework assignment, which was really cool to see them taking action and having them raise awareness about this issue that they just learned about. So that was a really cool experience, I think.
Absolutely.
One of the other things we did to kind of reach out to other audiences is we were applied to go to this Amnesty International Midwest Regional Conference, which is in St. Louis. And they were doing this new thing this year called Action Alley, which is, when they thought of it, it was supposed to be like a hallway basically of people who had posters to present and things like that. So we thought this would be a perfect option for us to go and present what we had previously done for the previous spring campaign on child
can either leave your bags behind and try to cross safely. We had an obstacle course set up. It was dark. You could hardly see anything. And we had border guards. Or you can keep them with you and try to sneak past. But there's a catch. There's a bell attached to your bag, making it easier for border guards to hear where you are. So if they catch you with their flashlight, who knows what's going to happen? All right, so raise your hand if you thought that you would take your belongings with you. Try it. You guys aren't very adventurous. All right, and then if you would leave them behind. Now let's see then. Which one do you guys do? All right. Keep this on. I'm going to try to keep my belongings with me. Oh, other one. Okay, so, oops, you got caught.
All right, so during the simulation, I was under the border guards the entire time, and this was the part of the simulation where I really feel like it really hit home for most of the people that were going through the simulation, because at the beginning of the simulation, they would kind of go through all their bag and round up what they want to take. So they would take, a family picture. I need to take food. I need to take water for survival. And so then they get over to this, they watch this video, and then we tell them, like, okay, well, there's bells in these bags, but if you take this bag, you might not be able to make it through the obstacle course we set up, because the guard's going to be able to hear you. So they go through the obstacle course, and, some of them made it through, some of them didn't. They took their bag, they probably didn't make it through, so I could do the bells. Whenever I heard anything, signed the flashlight on them, I gave them one of these cards. And they would not be able to continue the simulation. They would go off to the side and they read the card and they realize, wow, this really is a real thing. And that's why I really think that it hit home for them, because they realized they couldn't take what they want. They couldn't take all of their belongings. They couldn't take a picture of their own family. So I think it really hit home, and then they read that, and that's all you really need to read to understand.
So at the end of our simulation, we had a debrief session, and it was really cool because we had a lot of Bradley students come to our simulation, but we also had a lot of Bradley community members and professors come. So it was nice informing the students and people who didn't know about IHL and the Geneva conventions and everything. But in turn, it was really worthwhile to also do it. And with the professors, they gave us a lot of feedback, and we were just really proud of ourselves. So yes, questions? Yes.
So where did you guys come up with the cards that you gave out as the border guard?
Each of the cards was researched. We looked up stories of refugees, and we didn't use, two of them had pictures, but of course we had aliases on them because the stories of refugees are only protected. But these were cards that had stories of real refugees who happened to them. It was a boy who did die, it was a girl who was trafficked after being caught, and it was a person who was caught and tortured. So that gave impact.
I was also going to add really quickly, in that video that we showed, there was a Bradley student who was a refugee, a well-known student on campus, or actually a well-known family on campus. And so we showed part of his testimonial at the very beginning, and it kind of made it really relatable to all students that, like, this is something that happens to one of your neighbors, one of your classmates, and it very easily happened to, many other people all over the globe.
And along with the cards, we had a girl who was sexually trafficked. We had someone who was killed. But with the cards, we also brought in the gender aspect, that topic as well, because there are both male and female refugees. So you never know who might be sold into sexual slavery, who might be chosen to go join some different force. So there's just different outcomes that could happen. I wanted to address that.
We got a logo of a house, and then like
favorite part, or I don't know, favorite experience with the IHL Action Campaign? Oh, that's it.
The moment when we had to stop using icebreakers to make our team feel friendly.
My favorite was all the reactions we got because we got various ones from like kids at the middle school level all the way up to adults.